The following program is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. You can request podcast topics, enjoy exclusive RPG and video content, and more. Even just $1 a month gets you gameplay episodes a week early and makes you officially cool. Just like our trash elite, Rob, and a guy from Ohio, for whom we are watching this series. DG, Destrucity KTL, Kitty Holbrook, Passion Killer 711, and Drake Starstorm. Greetings and salutations, it is I, Jay Shecky, joined as always by the boy.
Hello.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable. Did we do it in February? Well, I did, but did the podcast come out in February? No, but hey, this is pretty early in March.
Only a week late. Yeah. I'm pretty proud of myself. Yeah. It's almost like my brain was determined not to watch it in February to fulfill the stereotype, because literally, like, March 1st, I finished it. And I watched like 8 episodes in a row.
Before we get to all that, we do have to talk about what's crumpin'. What's crumpin' with you, my guy?
Not much, honestly.
Yeah?
There's a thing that's tangentially going on, but that's really more your crumpin' to crump about. But honestly, in my personal life, everything's kind of proceeding apace. You?
Picked up the new WWE game, 2K26, to date ourselves. I wasn't going to get it, was going to wait till it was on sale, and then they did a lot of things that were very important to me, including the roster. All of the DLC is crazy good. I actually, unpopular opinion, like the new battle passes because it gives me an excuse to just play random matches, and I need that as a 40-year-old possum. It lets me give something to do while I podcast, and it makes it feel like it has purpose. Let me say that sentence again. It gives me something to do with my hands while I listen to a podcast or audiobook, and it's something with purpose so I can continue to do it instead of just feeling like I'm idling.
Don't lie. He's actively playing the game right now.
You don't know that. You don't. Fucking Seth Rollins. So yeah, I the thing I was most scared of is that CM Punk was going to get me again.
He's like an ex that you know is toxic and you know will make your life worse, but you get in the same room with them and...
But it didn't happen so far. He's kind of flat in his cutscenes, which is crazy because last year with Paul Heyman, I was blown away. Even Roman Reigns, I was like, you know what, this guy's a little bit cool. And I've never thought that about Roman Reigns. But nah, Punk's not doing it for me. I'm about halfway through the showcase mode. Anyway, podcast starts at, it's about 3 minutes. Real podcast anyway. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable, the second to last JoJo's we have to watch, the last good JoJo's we get to watch. Do we want to do a brief spoiler-free review?
Sure.
Okay. I thought this was spectacular. I thought, for all of its flaws. No, I think fuck all of its flaws. I don't care. I don't care.
I'm a little bit more reserved. I want to be as clear as possible. This was a good anime. Stardust Crusaders, I don't know that I would fully qualify as like a good anime. It has enough weird shit and enough cringe shit and enough stuff that isn't to my taste generally, that it's got a lot of really hype moments, but the lows are low, dog. This is just good. There are low moments, but they're not that low.
They're pretty fucking low, but I think that the main cast is so good that it elevates past those lows.
We never get to strength, and I never have to watch a baby eat its own shit. They aren't as low.
Oh, you mean in this show? I'm sorry, I thought we were still talking about Stardust Crusaders.
Yeah. Diamond is Unbreakable is like just a good anime. The highs, however, are not as high. The hype moments and cool shit is not quite as cool. It's missing just a little bit of that magic.
Well, and so we did research into this because I am who I am, and I had to know, and this is one of the least popular. I think Steel Ball Run is the second least popular, and that's coming out later this year, or the most least popular. But either way, it's in the bottom of popularity.
Not a huge winner. Diamond is Unbreakable.
So of course I love it. You're right. It doesn't have all the aura and the flex and the 4D mental chess. And
no, it absolutely has that last thing. Like you are not. We'll get there, but we'll get there.
It's still a JoJo, but it's not. That's not the focus. It is a small town vibes, weird ghost story.
It's like they mixed like a regular JoJo's with a slice of life anime.
Yeah, this is the slice of life ghost story JoJo's, and I love that. I like slice of life anime. I remember the wonderful time I had watching Princess Jellyfish. And
I would say it's not, at least for me, it's not disputable. It's a better anime than the previous ones. It's just a better story. It's more coherently written. The characters are more understandable and relatable. It is in all ways an improvement, except for the ways that you come to for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure 4.
Yeah, I think if this was your first JoJo's, you would really enjoy it. But if you're here for the aura farming, you would be like, "Where's all my aura farming? I'm not going to grow any aura crops.
My aura fields are barren.
Tilling my aura soil." Yeah. So that's the spoiler-free section. It's old. I don't know why you're coming to us for reviews, but we do this just in case. Just in case. We like to give a warning that we're going to spoil the shit out of stuff.
Put the energy out into the universe you wish to receive back from the universe.
Yep. Do we doing this roughly episode by episode? It's been a lot longer.
I feel like this is your show. I feel like you're the bigger fan of it. You're the bigger fan of this anime. You should lead this charge. Where are we going?
All right. So I am not good at point by point review. I'm better at vibes. I was really bad in high school and middle school and elementary school at book reports. This is why my fighting game show is about characters and a brief report on the story.
And then this happened and then this happened.
Yeah, I'm not
for being an author, you're bad at sequential storytelling.
Well, ironically, I'm bad at sequential storytelling relation. I would always rather someone just watch it because they're gonna do it better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, look, sometimes if there is a funny video on the internet, I will tell my friend about it. But sometimes I will just send him the funny video because I'm not going to deliver this joke as well as the person who did it, and he deserves the full power.
And especially when the funny video is not a 60-second TikTok and is, 30 fucking hours of anime or whatever this was. Yeah, they're going to do a better job of it. So we focus on a bunch of high school adjacent.
Our main characters are all students.
Yes.
Either high school or middle school, the Japanese equivalents thereof.
There are some adults. We have a returning... man, I always forget how to pronounce it.
Jotaro Kujo.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yes.
No, yes, no. No, yes. No.
Yes, no. I'm sorry, these names are... They blend together.
They intentionally make them similar.
Right. And
so that you can be JoJo.
It's like Elden Ring, right? Like, is it Margit? Is it Morgot? Is it Murgert?
You're talking about Jotaro Kujo, who is now 28 and thus an old man.
The protagonist from the previous anime. He's here. Eventually, Joseph shows up. Yeah. And they're kind of researching this weird fucking town where a bunch of murders have happened, like way more than the national average of murders.
And also Jotaro is going there. Well, I think originally, doesn't he go there to look for the bow and arrow, right?
Yeah, that's part of it.
And to look for something. I don't know if they know the bow and arrow exists yet. I don't.
He's looking into how stand users, and this isn't revealed until later, but he's looking into how all these stand users suddenly popped up.
Yes, and also to address some fucking slander that Araki put on Mike Goat Joseph Joestar's name. Apparently, despite spending roughly, I would say, 2 solid episodes worth of material last season on how much Joseph loves his wife, he'd been fucking around. He got that dog in him because he has a very young high school age son named Josuke Higashikata. No, I did that wrong.
Higashikata.
Okay, so I did it right? I thought I swapped the consonants around. Higashikata. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. I thought I swapped those consonants around. I do that with Japanese names sometimes.
Dyslexia is a bitch, especially with fucking foreign languages.
But... Which means he had to have cheated on his wife way into their marriage.
The way they portray it is they had like a week together or something. She fell so fucking madly in love with him because he is him.
He's him. He's the GOAT.
And he had a failing of his morals once and then ran streaming into the night.
And then she's never looked at another man. And the product is Josuke.
Yeah. So he's got a stand, Shining Diamond.
Crazy Diamond. Originally, we watched the dub because it's just easier, and
I would not have watched. I would have had such a hard time watching this.
Yeah, and also I want us to have a similar experience so we can be. Sometimes I will go back and watch the subtitled version for the original voice acting for like big iconic moments, but usually I'm just watching the dub, and it leads to wonderful things that I want to get into when they come up.
Sure. But I will say something this show does that previous seasons haven't is they don't give you the main villain right away. To the point that when they defeat Angelo very early, Angelo is introduced as this serial killer who's now stalking Josuke's family because his grandpa put him away. Josuke's grandpa put Angelo away for his crimes.
They defeat him in like episode 2?
Yeah, 2. As I was saying about Crazy Diamond, he can heal things. That's his big move. Like, he's also a karate man.
Like, he's a Star Platinum, the world type stand, where he's a very, very fast, very, very strong, like, very close range attack stand. But its special ability, rather than stopping time, is it can heal and restore anything that isn't Josuke.
Yes. So long as it's not dead. If it's fully dead...
Well, I mean, it can restore it. It's just not going to make it alive again.
Right. Yeah. We can reconstruct a corpse. It is still a corpse.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in the second episode, they beat that guy, and I was like, oh, okay, mystery of all the murders solved. That's neat. Weird. I wonder where we're going from here. No, it turns out that wasn't the guy who was doing all the murders. It's a different fella. That's
the first of, like, I would say three major villains in the series.
They really, like, red herring you, because then in the following episodes, you think the main villain is, oh god, what was his name?
The other Nijimura brother.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Keicho.
The dead one.
Yeah. He's the guy who has this bow and arrow, which was apparently an artifact that Enya used to create stand users. You shoot somebody with it, and if they survive... After they recover from their wounds, they have a stand.
And, he's the one who gave Angelo a stand, and it's he's going around giving people stands to try and, I believe his idea was to try and heal his father.
Yeah, he's looking for someone who has a stand that can turn his father back from this gross little Kappa-like monster.
That Dio's, Bud turned him into.
Yeah, all of the people he's choosing are, for whatever reason, horrible.
Yeah, I mean...
I think maybe the logic is, well, if it kills them, at least they were like a bad guy, right?
Yeah, I guess.
But he also, like, shot a rat at some point, so I don't know. This guy's logic seems like it's a little fucked. This is when we are introduced to Okuyasu Nijimura, who my possum is dressed up like, because he is the best character in this show.
Okuyasu is an absolute king. He is the dumbest motherfucker, but he is loyal.
It's not like last season where Polnareff was weirdly the main character.
No, Josuke is the main character of this show.
Josuke's totally the main character.
He is the main character of this show so much that I feel like this show does not give Josuke his propers because he doesn't have protagonist powers anymore.
But
Jotaro, excuse me, I did this.
Yeah, it was your turn. You know what I said? It's the foreign names make it especially hard. It was still hard for me with Jonathan and Joseph.
No, it's just the J's.
It's
because Okuyasu is you don't have a problem with that.
No, I have no problem with Okuyasu. Okuyasu is wonderful. He's just the best bro. When I played Persona 5, I really loved Ryuji. He was probably my favorite character, and Ryuji has big Okuyasu energy. What a good guy. I'm thrilled. I took Okuyasu first, and then the boy had to get dripped out like
because Jotaro's outfit is fucking killer in this season. He's not as bulky as he was. He's like slimmed down when he hasn't been in combat for so long. But the new look is great.
I do want to say here, our thumbnail is using a lot of the alternate color palette for, like when they start talking about stands and stuff, how they get alternate colors.
Yeah, you drop into like Battle World.
But that sky, that yellow sky, this is set in the 90s, with Savage Garden as the outro theme, which is a wild choice.
They go through like 3 intro themes that are all pretty good.
It's always Savage Garden.
But Savage Garden is there for you, man.
I'm going to get that chick a cherry cola. I love that yellow sky because a thing I have talked about, this has been a big part of my overall life narrative, is after a certain point, I won't go too detailed about it, but I didn't realize they replaced most of the lights in the world with higher quality bulbs that emit blue light.
There's another reason for that I found out.
Oh, yeah? Another
reason for this phenomenon is this is not a phenomenon related to experience. This is a generalized phenomenon related to aging. As you age, your eyes are less able to perceive those colors. You lose them over time.
So not only did they switch to blue light, but I got old. As I said last podcast, I'm chopped. So I always talked about how the 90s were more yellow, and I kind of missed that. And we found out why eventually. But I love the fact that there's a yellow sky here. First of all, it sells that it's in the 90s. It is also putting over that this little slice of the world is just so strange. Everything is perfectly normal. This is a lovely little burb. That sky is yellow all the time, though. And it's just such good artistic direction and choice, and it really, really informs the overall tone of the series. There are so many weirdos of the week in this, too. But yes. As you said, Keicho dies.
Nearly immediately after being introduced.
Yeah. It's a couple episodes. Most of the arcs are 2 or 3 episodes. And sometimes they weave in and out of each other a little bit.
So much so that I wasn't even counting him as one of the villains.
It's basically immediately after that we get who I thought was the main villain of the series.
So did I. He's really he's got a power that would enable him to hide and make it hard for people to find him.
And that could be extrapolated on in the future.
That could come up with new shit and be interesting. And it's just, clearly he's being set up as the new bad guy.
Yeah. His stand is even more Kappa-like and is named Red Hot Chili Pepper.
And this is a good time to bring up, I love the dub partially because we get such wonderful... I'm going to make a reference here that patricians, true kings, fans of this particular channel might know and should know. We get such American Revolver-ass names for all of this, for a bunch of the stands and characters because they don't want to be sued. So it's just Chili Pepper in the dub, and that's beautiful. I love it.
Either way, the name is great. It's so ridiculous. Also, if you want to know who American Revolver is, let me know in the comments and I'll point you in the right direction. He antagonizes them and fights from the shadows and seems to be behind a lot of stuff. He steals the bow, right? And he starts making more stand users.
He immediately steals the bow, and whereas the dead Kijimura brother was doing it to heal his father, he's just doing it to be a prick.
So another thing I liked in this series, and I'm reminded by the Let's Go Eat Some Italian Food episode, in the previous JoJo series, when you would encounter another stand user, they were going to be your enemy,
It was enemy stand user was how they were referred to.
Right. And then you might beat them up enough that became your friend.
Yeah.
In this, they do encounter several stand users who are just cool.
Which means that either Keijo or Chili Pepper, the wielder of which his name is not revealed at this point in the series, gave a bunch of people stands, or they had stands from other places, because there are people who have stands that don't come from the bow and arrow, presumably. I don't remember when Tonio got his stand. But at some point which implies there's a bunch of stand users in the world who are just normal people.
Right.
Who happen to have a stand.
Yeah, it's just the density of stand users that is strange and caused by the bow and arrow. Because the Joestar family.
And something else they establish in this, which is, something that could be implied from the previous series, but isn't mentioned, but is explicitly called out several times in this series, stand users are drawn to one another. Mm. So, like, even if it wasn't from the bow and arrow, maybe this guy who runs an Italian restaurant that heals people of their ailments came to Morio because there's a bunch of stand users here, and he felt drawn to the place.
Yeah. But he's cool. It seems like he's sinister at first because his food destroys your body and reconfigures it to heal it. But
in like in really gross way.
Yeah, it's incredibly graphic.
It's real body horror, but then you're fine.
Yeah.
And better, actually.
Yeah. And he's a cool guy. He's just chill. And then he is he is mentioned later, but he's basically out of the story after that. It's beautiful.
They go to his restaurant every now and again.
And I think in the ending, one of the characters is like, let's go to Tonio's. It's just like a little nod.
Which means they're just going there regular.
Yeah. That guy makes good food, even when it doesn't reconfigure
apparently the most delicious food imaginable.
So that's when, following that, no, he doesn't get defeated yet. That's when Joseph shows up. And he is old. You think I'm chopped.
Joseph has transitioned from, like, hale older gentleman who's still up for, a battle but isn't quite as good as he was at his peak in Stardust Crusaders to doddering fucking codger in the intervening 10 years.
I think he's 35 in this.
He was an adult before World War II. Yeah. He's sufficiently old to get to be a doddering codger.
He is like 80 or some shit like that. And it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice that he's just a kook and he doesn't have some sort of secret master plan and he's not just still the same guy. This is, we talk about this with superhero comics, how we wish there was more actual passage of time, That is honestly, it's one of the things I was thinking about watching this series and when it ends. And one of the great things about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, as opposed to other comics, exactly as you were explaining, is that Jonathan Joestar was well over, I believe, almost 100 years ago by the point we are in the story. And his grandson is a doddering old codger, and that guy was the protagonist a couple series ago. Time is moving quickly forward, and I like that. I also like how Araki will go back for like a little one-off or go back to a time period to explore things, and then you can have some character crossover. But, a lot of it's left open. So you can go back and revisit and explore these characters again or in a different way, but it's not necessarily all in continuity. It's just a really clever way to write. Dude, even when I don't care for this show, this series, the guy's doing good work.
Look, Araki's decisions might not always be to my preference. Sometimes he's a weirdo, but he's got the sauce. He's a genuine, unique motherfucker. He has a vision.
I would call him an auteur.
I think that's actually absolutely super fair.
Then there's an episode I was really worried about, but it turned out to be one of the greatest footnotes for this series. We have the arrival of Achtung Baby, who is a literal baby that can turn invisible, and if she gets freaked out, other stuff around her starts going invisible, and it never comes back. I think it comes back after a while. And it's just a baby that just was a random invisible baby that gets left. And Joseph's like, I gotta take care of this baby. I can't be leaving no baby around.
I wanna be clear. They defeat Red Hot Chili Pepper. I don't know if we highlighted that. He gets his ass beat, and then it's just over. Like, he doesn't die. They just whip his ass, and he doesn't come back.
He disappears.
He learns not to start smoke with these people and fucks off.
You find out he's just this rock star dude, this wannabe guitarist,
who's like been crazy murdering people and giving horrible human beings evil powers to be a prick, but like literally for no good reason.
When he shows up, he gives such who the fuck is this guy energy. Like, this is not the main bad guy.
This is clear. Once he showed up, I was like, oh, he's gonna lose.
Yeah.
Because Red Hot Chili Pepper seems like, oh, this could be the stand that they fight the whole series, and he's got like the user's like a mastermind.
Because he's very Frieza coded.
But then, yeah, it's still Chili Pepper, yes. But then his stand user shows up and goes, oh, this dude's losing this episode.
This is some
dude's
guy
losing right now, and then he did.
Yeah, it's so I forgot it happened there. I thought it came back later because even the Wikipedia summary is like he disappeared.
And then we go like 4 episodes before the main villain of the series appears. This is just some shit that happened to these people.
That guy
no overall arc.
That guy is gone in episode 12. And I love it. I love it. It's just little vignettes. It's little stories.
This is why you call it like a ghost story, like
Well, and there are actual ghost stories. So one of the things they establish early in this season is that Morio is a weird town with a lot of myths, and they keep touching on that because the announcer will be like, this became a landmark that the people called blah, and they did this superstition there. And I like that because it feels like small town myth.
Yeah, you know what? Anyone who grew up in like a small town, you've got that. You've got the, this is the road where they hung a guy and it's haunted now.
Yeah, and except in this show, there's a man fused in that rock. He's creepy as hell. But, you can go touch the rock for good luck.
Fucked up thing Josuke did in like
every fucking time they pass the rock and go, hey, Angelo. I love it. It happens like 3 times and it's the best thing ever because I just love continuity, man. I know that sounds so stupid. It's like saying I love jokes, but I appreciate it because when it's gone, I feel it so strongly. It's a big problem I have with children's media because they don't give a shit about continuity because little kids don't tend to give a shit about continuity.
So you have characters whose character development isn't consistent or they backslide or what have you. Whereas this, no, every time, hey, Angelo, they don't make a big deal of it. This dude is stuck in an existential hell and they're just sort of like taunting him about it.
I mean, it's a fucked up thing to do to a guy, but that guy was fucked up.
That guy was fucked up. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it.
They sell this dude as worse than Dio immediately.
Yeah, he's a weird asshole in addition to being evil.
Yeah. But that's the problem I have with Supernatural, to not just bag on kids media, is that every time somebody else takes over Supernatural,
we learn the same 3 lessons again.
Yeah, and they have the same fight again, even though they had a very definitive. All right, so you're fixed. This isn't your problem anymore. Right? Yeah, I don't believe that anymore at all.
It's what's the bit? Every new creator for Supernatural. Oh, I have a new idea. Oh, it's the same idea. It's the same idea.
So much of the things I say came out of Susie Izzard's mouth. I forget. Yeah. Anyhow, we meet a mangaka. Jesus Christ, Rohan.
Kashibe, Rohan Kashibe.
And he's a little bit of a weirdo, but he does we've kicked his ass and now he becomes a main character thing.
But not a friend. He does not like the guy. At no point in the series does Rohan Kashibe like the guy who beat him up.
No, it's mostly the younger kids who like him.
Who looked up to him already.
Yeah, because he's a cool mangaka, but he's a wiener. He's like a jerk who lives on the edge of...
He's a pretentious prick the whole time. He doesn't get better, and he doesn't like the main character. He thinks he's a fucking hoodlum.
Yeah.
And you know what? No, hoodlum is the greatest way to distill it. But the other main characters, the younger kids who look up to him, specifically Koichi, He likes him. He considers him a friend by the end of the series, but specifically not Yosuke. They mention it several times.
Well, that also very subtly folds in that whole stand users are attracted to each other thing, because he just keeps getting involved in this shit.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't want to be.
No.
But it just keeps fucking happening.
He just wants to draw his mangoes.
They just keep magnetizing to each other, which, by the way, excellent fucking thing to add to the... This is great world building. I'm always going to bag a little bit on fucking Ripple energy, on Ham energy, just going away. We don't talk about that shit at all anymore.
No, we did a couple of times for Joseph.
But, like, no one new is showing up. This is a lost art.
Yeah, it's been forgotten to the 80s.
No one's given a shit about it since, like, World War II. But, like, this is a great addition to the lore, and I want to call that out. Stand users being canonically just sort of drawn to each other gives you such a wonderful excuse to just have these characters pop up in each other's lives.
This is the token excuse, the base effort that so many people, ourselves and others, ask for when they're like, so why doesn't, as an example, if you had time to make a throwaway scene in a big MCU film where Ant-Man is like, hey, Cap, I could use a hand here. And Cap's like, I'm really busy fighting some neo-Nazis. I'm sorry, I can't right now. That would make so many people who watch those movies happy, because they're like, that's why he didn't help. Now we know.
And Araki went to the trouble of going, why are all these people just popping up in each other's lives? Why are all of these stand users filing into this random suburb? Because stand users are attracted to one another. They draw together. That's super neat. That's good. I like that. That's good world building.
So Kishibe's ability, Rohan Kishibe, he can read you like a book, literally. And he can change some things.
He turns you into manga. Yeah.
And he can change some of the words so that you can't hurt him and stuff. It's a very defensive stand and a learning stand. So basically immediately after that, the rat episode happens. It's not worth really talking about. This is where the ghost story part really kicks in.
This is the 3-episode arc I'm talking about. It's like 2 episodes where they're fighting Rohan. They fight a random rat who has a stand, and who's like,
that rat was scary.
He's one of the most challenging fights they have in the whole series.
Jotaro's like, I'm fucking dying. That's bad.
And then they bring in the next arc for like the back third of the series, maybe back half, maybe. I think a little less.
Episode 17 where this starts.
And that's so different from the previous series.
Yes.
It's just very cool.
This feels like multiple seasons of a single series in one. Like, this season was about this guy. This season was about this guy. Whereas we just get all of these arcs. And I don't know how manga works. I don't read the manga. So maybe this makes sense with the way it's distributed. But I like it here regardless. So we learn about an alley, a street in Morio, which is full of ghosts. The veil between is thin.
Yeah, this is straight up. This is not related to stands. They're just ghosts.
Yeah.
The afterlife is real, and there is a haunted alley that two stand users happened to get trapped in.
We meet a girl there, Remy. She has I don't know if you know the creepypasta humans can lick too. That's her backstory. She was the victim, and her cool dog. And she's like, yeah, the guy who murdered me was a real prick.
On account of he's a murderer and whatever, and he never got caught. They mentioned he got away with it. No one knows who killed her. And they meet her as like someone trapped in a haunted extra-dimensional alley that just they stumbled onto.
Yeah. And it feels like this was just a weird one-off, but this does become like seeds for the rest of the show. We are introduced afterward to Shigechi, who is a little Cartman-like child.
He is Cartman. He's not as, I guess he's probably not as racist.
And like when he's not being a shithead, he's really nice. It's like he's got a switch that flips.
Where he goes from being like a very naive, adorable little child to like a shitty middle manager. And there's nowhere in between.
We really haven't talked about Koichi. He's a younger character. He's probably the secondary main character. He gets a stand over the course of the show.
That evolves over the... If Josuke is the main character, Koichi is an anime protagonist.
Yeah.
Of like a non-JoJo's anime who showed up here.
A fellow classmate falls in love with him, and she has magic hair. She's evil at first, but then she gets less evil.
She gets her ass kicked,
Yeah.
and like they actually end up getting together, and good for them, but also, ooh.
It's very like it's a tsundere thing. Like he's kind of playing with tropes here. This is also where Cinderella comes in, right? Yeah, this episode. It's a woman who can change a face.
And it's just a stand user. It feels like a weird one-off. Just this stand user lady who's running a beauty shop where she changes people's faces around. That is a one little bottle episode that mostly focuses on not the main cast at all, just the girl who has magic hair. That comes back later in such an incredibly important to the plot way that he just puts in, and it feels like a little unrelated thing, and then ties in so well later. This is a very well plotted series.
Yeah. Episode 21 of 39, we are introduced to the villain, Yoshikage Kira.
Who is the worst. He's such a shitty person.
He's got a little bit of the main character of... Geez, all the nouns have fallen out of my head. American Psycho.
Patrick Bateman.
I had Bateman. He's got this crazy hand fetish to where he finds a lady, kills her, cuts off her hand, and then dates that hand for an extended period of time.
Until it starts to get a bit whiffy.
Yeah.
And then disposes of it.
He gets tied into the main cast, partially because he's a stand user, and that's going to happen, but also because Shigechi thinks that Josuke and Okuyasu stole his sandwich.
And then this guy happens to be carrying a severed hand in that same brand of sandwich bag. And it's just complete coincidence that ties this guy, who is quickly revealed to be the person who killed the ghost girl, into these people's lives. It's just... Again, just this wild coincidence that is established why it's happening in the lore. But it is just, this shit just is happening to these people.
His stand is called Killer Queen. It's got complicated explosion powers.
It's called Deadly Queen in the dub. I just want to highlight that amazing name change again. And
my brain does not... I didn't even watch the sub, and my brain does not hear Deadly Queen.
No, because... Killer Queen is the reference.
Yeah, right. Well, and it's just better.
And so I would say that Yoshikage Kira is a good villain for this anime. He's very like small town horror coded in terms of being a villain. It is like a full 2 episodes after they introduce him where it's even revealed he has a stand, which I think is funny. But
that's in the end of the episode.
Is it the end of the first episode? It feels like longer. But he's like a bad, like he's like a bad villain. What I mean by that is, like, not only he is a terrible person, and he's not as cool as Dio. He's a lame wad. He's like a lame incel loser guy. But that's separate. His powers are... He has new powers as the plot demands.
This is where you're talking about the 4D chess. And I did find this very frustrating because a guy from Ohio often describes what he likes about this show as like a mature version of 2 little kids at the playground going, "Nuh-uh, I have an energy shield. Your lasers can't beat me."
And Kira is the most pure distillation of that we have seen. Every time he's in a jam, Killer Queen develops a new power.
And it might be quite thrilling to somebody watching or reading it for the first time, but to me, perhaps you could call me an impatient reader, but honestly, my patience is thin when you start putting roadblocks in the way, is maybe a better way to put it. It just feels a little tedious. He ices Shigechi.
Yeah, just immediately Shigechi is no more. Killed. Blown up, turned to smithereens.
He tries to tell the main cast, but he explodes first and into, like, dust particles, so there's not even a body. There's a bit of a chase, and
because he does manage to get one clue to the main cast, and they use that as, like, the hook to ultimately find the bad guy.
Right. He goes to Cinderella, has her change his face, and then kills her.
Like, clearly forces her to do so, and then kills her. And so the rest of the series is trying to figure out who he is now, because they immediately beat his ass.
Right.
Like, it takes them an episode maybe to track him down after he kills Shigechi, and then they whoop his ass. Mostly Koichi whoops his ass, to be honest.
So he begins living the life of the guy whose face he stole, Kosaku Kawajiri. They said that name so much, but gosh, I don't remember it. He starts living with that guy's wife and son. And then we have some more random shit happen.
Yeah, like, random shit happens in the background while this, like, the big narrative tension switches to his kid. This weird little kid who's, like, completely checked out and records his parents' bedroom.
I don't know what goes on in Japan. There's an episode that comes a little later, and we might gloss over it at the time, where it's very... So, the storyline there, I kind of, like... I like a little bit. Like, I have a pre-fondness for it, because it's the Stepfather movies.
Yeah, it's absolutely, like... This is, again, a small-town horror story.
Yeah. If the guy was whistling Camp Town Races, I would have been hooked. But it's this kid going, I don't think my dad is my dad anymore. A switch has flipped and he's being weird. The mom doesn't care because she thinks he's hot now.
What? Because her regular office worker has been replaced by a hyper Chad from, like, a TikTok edit.
Also, it's implied that she's a little bit of a sociopath, and so him being more like that is making her go, hell yeah.
Yeah, all right. Someone who doesn't care about others and just manipulates things to their advantage, well, that gets the old engine going. I think maybe your son is weird because you're weird.
Yeah.
I think this might be your fault.
Yeah, this might be genetics or something. Environment, who knows? But there's a point where they take a bath together, the father, Kira, and the son. And it's very tense and intimidating because we know he's Kira, and
the kid knows some shit is up.
Knows something. It's not his dad anymore. And he's trying to just be like, he's trying to figure out what the kid knows. But that sounds fucking weird to us Westerners, but apparently it's very typical over there, or at least it was in the 90s.
Yeah, communal bathing is actually really common.
Yeah, and it's a great bonding exercise, apparently. It's supposed to be, as lovely as, like, going on a picnic or braiding your kid's hair or something.
It's playing catch.
Sure.
It's a father-son bonding moment. Look, it's weird to my sensibilities, but I'm not gonna put my shit on this other culture. That's perfectly valid.
And I really liked it after having learning that through the episode, because I had to stop and go, whoa, how weird is this? It's such good writing. It violates such a simple, display of fondness.
And clearly, like, a deep cultural tradition.
Yeah.
And this is a great... As you really nailed, this is slice of life anime that has, like, JoJo's characters stapled in,
and the horror is really strong.
It's just a bunch of scary small town stories where the answer is almost, but not at all totally, almost always a stand in it.
Yeah. This introduces one of my other favorite characters. This part here, the episode "I'm an Alien."
So, thing we should cover to give you context for this episode. Kira's father turns out is as much of a prick as his son.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention his
And he's
father.
dead. And he's a ghost. I want to be clear, he does not have a stand. He is a ghost who can inhabit pictures. He doesn't have a stand that can inhabit pictures. he can do that himself.
That's just how ghosts work. Duh.
So he, through a series of misadventures, nearly defeats the heroes and then gets away. And takes the arrow, which is what actually grants, because they find another one. Turns out Kira just had another one. Sure. How many of these are there? As many as I need for more stand users, says Ericy. He takes the arrow and starts giving new people stands so that there are even more bad guys for them to fight, to try and distract from and defeat the people who are hunting his son.
Yeah, he's not even that worried about making bad guys. He's just shooting randos who he thinks it might work on because it will be a distraction no matter what happens.
Yeah, he just is trying to simultaneously get a force together to beat his, these people who are trying to kill his son, because he does actively recruit and talk to some of these people.
Sure.
And just throw noise at them.
Yeah.
Just flood the zone with stand users so they can't find his son. He's trying to protect his baby boy, his little murderous apple of his eye, again, as a ghost trapped in like a Polaroid.
It's goofy. So anyway, this dude shows up that you might think is a stand user.
And indeed, the father hits him with the arrow to give him a stand, and it bounces off instead of piercing him.
His name is Mikitaka. He's probably just an alien.
Either he's a crazy stand user who thinks he's an alien, because he has a mom who's like, "You're not an alien." He said he was an alien in his last school and we had to move.
She's about exactly that exasperated.
Or he's an alien who has hypnotized this woman into thinking she's his mom so that he has better social camouflage. This is especially funny because shape-shifting aliens are canon to the JoJo universe.
Yeah.
Cars exists. He's out there floating as an ice crystal in space. He's real.
So, he immediately uses, that is to say, Josuke immediately uses Mikitaka's abilities to cheat at gambling against Rohan. And
again, just an episode, 2 episodes, actually, I think.
it's like a half of an episode on either end. It could have been its own episode. Because the episode where it resolves is the Highway Star episode, which is another cool ghost story, because they go on a train and there's like a haunted room you can only see as you're passing where this horrible thing happened. And it's just, I don't know, it's just cool stuff. Highway Star is a loser who is just like a sexy biker guy.
Highway Star is, again, as a JoJo's character, a hyper giga chad with groupies for some reason, who is also a complete loser.
Yeah. We also get introduced to Stray Cat, who is a cat stand user because of the arrow.
Yeah, I get that's, you nailed it.
It turns into a plant, so it's a cat plant stand user
because of the arrow.
Because of the arrow, yeah. And I think that's when things kick off.
The horror story of my father has been replaced by an imposter.
Yeah.
Culminates in the kid getting proof, and then enraged at being found out, Kira kills him, and then spontaneously develops a new power that this child has to be the one to defeat by outthinking this horrible murderer who has replaced his father. And then once he does, it never comes up again. And it's an incredibly overpowered ability that should guarantee Kira wins all the time. And then this kid manages to outthink it, and he never uses it again.
I think it's something about how, I don't know, it's either poorly written or too well written for me. I can't tell. But it does tie into the end of the anime as well. Because that's kind of the last loop. Because we get a little bit of a distraction with Cheap Trick, who is a backpack stand who kills people. He's his userless stand.
Like the sword stand from Stardust Crusader.
They eventually kill him by taking him to the ghost alley.
And having him dragged off to the underworld.
Another reminder about that. And then, episode 35 is when he inadvertently, quote unquote, kills Hayato, the kid. And and we kick off the end of it, which is I don't want to go into it over much here.
No, this is worth seeing. I will say I do have one complaint, which is a bunch of this fight. There's a big fight. It's JoJo's anime. Obviously, there's a big fight.
Yeah,
a bunch of this fight happens outside, with people yelling a block, not even a block, around the corner from the rest of the cast, and they do not investigate it.
It's Mario.
It's just like they're looking for a killer and their friend is missing and there's explosions and they know the killer uses explosions happening what has to be, physically must be in earshot of them. And they just simply do not look into it.
Well, and I wonder how much of this takes place in, he says a lot in one leap,
in stretched anime time, in the amount of time Goku yells during a power-up sequence.
People do show up and it's not, like they show up because shit was happening. I think even somebody mentions a couple of times, hey, what's going on over there? But because of this happens over the course of several hours in our time, in real time, it feels like they should have shown up long time ago. But, it's like D&D combat. We're at this for 2 hours. That took 14 seconds.
You're 10 rounds away from combat. You're like, the combat is happening 10 rounds away from wherever you're standing. Means you are not going to be able to participate in this combat. They're fucked. They're on their own.
Yeah.
That means you're literally 1 minute away from where the fight is happening.
So, who knows? Okuyasu has an amazing moment here, solidifying him as he was already my favorite character throughout this whole season. But it was awesome.
It's worth seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all the characters get put over pretty well here. And everything concludes and they sort of, wrap up and move along. They have a goodbye episode.
And then, as I understand it, barring, coming back here for, one-offs, as you said, we leave forever.
I wouldn't call this a spoiler because it happens in, the first or second episode. But the next season, we still have a principal character. I am so bad with names. The little dude.
Koichi?
Koichi is a principal character in the next season, but it's not in Morio. I've seen a couple episodes of the next season. That's how I know I don't care for it. You might love it.
I probably would. I probably will.
Concepts we don't ever revisit again. Achtung Baby.
The invisible baby vanishes from the narrative, never to be seen?
I love it. And they asked Araki about it, if he had any plans of bringing her back because she seemed like exactly that kind of plot thread. And his response was no.
Joseph, as an 80-year-old, adopts a baby to take care of her. We never see that baby again.
The alien guy, they never resolved that.
Is he an alien? Is he a stand user? Araki is uninterested in that answer. Moving on.
And there's just so much stuff that just never gets answered. But I dig it. In a way, it's something that would usually detract from the overall telling of a story. But within this context, it just feeds into the weird, eerie Indiana-esque, this is fucking Morio.
And it helps make the world feel lived in. We never go back to Octon Baby because, that just happened.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's over.
It's over. It's done. It's good. She had a life.
And that is also how it feels, the slice of life anime. People use the term slice of life to, say things like, oh, this is a very realistic show, or it's very mundane. But a lot of my favorite indie movies that I was into back in the day would also be a slice of life. They would begin and end without the kind of resolution you might be used to in a narrative. The story might be telling the tale of how, this guy got over his hatred of his father, and it doesn't even necessarily go, and now he's over it. You're just left when the story is over, and that's kind of nice.
Yeah, not everything needs to be tied up in a neat little bow.
Yeah, basically. And I do like that about this series. We forgot to mention the Superfly, who I also thought was a cool little couple-parter. It's a weirdo who's living in a tower.
And the tower is his stand?
Yeah, the tower is like a electrical tower. Like
an abandoned electrical transformer tower. Mm-hmm. And it's a stand now, Susan. And it doesn't like him. Like, it's not under his control. It does whatever it wants.
Yeah.
And it traps someone inside it so they can't leave.
He's just really good at exploiting it.
Through effort and study. And it has like a one enters, one leaves rule. This stand does. That again, this guy is the stand user for, and he's not in control of it at all. That's very funny. You don't see that.
Well, and they do this big fight with him, and it becomes the Iron Man 3 thing of like, hey, I don't want to fight you guys. I actually just really like living here. I've been living here for a long time. I don't want to leave. Some guy shot me with an arrow and told me to fuck with you guys, and I'm cool. I'm cool now. And I liked that. I liked that it was very, this is too much. This is where I'm going to get hurt.
I just work here. These guys are so weird.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Diamond is Unbreakable. Phenomenal. This was, if I had seen this apart from the rest of the JoJo's, I would have just loved it.
There are entire characters we didn't have time to cover who are on this thumbnail.
Yeah. That owl did all kinds of crazy shit. Not the other one though.